welcome to Miss Leela podcast episode 4. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year. We had a very nice Christmas day. We had both our parents come over for breakfast, which has been a tradition of ours since Tim and I have been living together, so 8 years maybe, something like that. So they come over for breakfast and we opened presents first this time because Tilly was starting to get a little curious about all the things that were under the tree. She was a little bit more into it this year, but she still kind of opened one present and then didn't really care about all the other presents that were still there to be opened. But we had a lovely morning and Tilly got some lovely new toys and clothes and all sorts of things. So yeah, we had a really nice morning, nice breakfast, and then we put Tilly down for a nap just around 11 o'clock, and then we went around to Tim's parents' place for late Christmas lunch with his immediate family, which we do every year as well, so that was really nice. It was really fun to see Tilly running around with all her little cousins, and she had a great time. And when she was a little tired, she would just get her blanket and watch a bit of the Wiggles or nursery rhymes and have a little chill out, and then she'd be up playing again. So yeah, we had a really lovely time. It was overcast here, which was actually quite nice. It wasn't too hot, but it wasn't cold. It got a little chilly in the afternoon, but the rain held off too, which was really good. And then for New Year's, we just went around and had a barbecue with some friends of ours. Tilly and I didn't make it to midnight. Well, I did, but I brought Tilly home to go to sleep because she was starting to fade a little bit. So we came home about 10:30, and then I just read and then watched Countdown and the fireworks, and yeah, that was it. It was a really lovely time. So I'm filming in a different part of my studio today, so I'm not too sure how the lighting is going to go. It looks a little dark on the screen, but I'm hoping that in the editing process I might be able to lighten it up a little bit. I've tested a couple of things, and when I hold them up it does show the colour fairly true, but I just feel like it's a little dark behind me. But we'll see how we go, and then next time I might try a different spot. Still trying to work it out. I'm filming on 2 cameras as well, so I'm filming on my laptop, which is how I've been doing it previously, but I'm also filming on my digital camera to see how it goes with the colour and the sound and focusing. The only problem with filming on that's why I'm looking up to this side, because I'm looking at both cameras. The only problem is it's just a digital camera, so the digital screen is on the back, so I can't actually see how things are looking, if it's focusing properly, so it's a bit of trial and error. And I don't have any cables to connect it to my laptop to see if I can bring up the digital screen on my laptop while I'm filming, so I'm going to have to maybe look into that. So still pottering around with the podcast and trying to find the best way to do it. So I've got loads to share with you today. I've got goodies that I got for Christmas. I've got a couple of finished things, some works in progress. I want to talk a little bit about my goals and my word for this year. Some dyeing experiments. So yeah, just a warning, it's going to be a long one essentially. So yeah, we'll see how we go. So we'll start with crochet. I've written it down in different order on my notes, but I'm going to do it this way instead. So I have one finished object and one work in progress with crochet. So my finished object, you may have seen on my Instagram, is my magic knot bag. Oh, that lighting just got a bit better when I held that up. This is my magic knot bag. So, how I made this was, I have spoken about it before, but I used a YouTube tutorial, which I'll put the link for again in the show notes. So I used a magic knot tutorial, and I used all my acrylic yarn scraps and also some large offcuts that I got from Mum to make magic knot yarn ball. And then I've just used single crochet in the round. For the base, I used it's like a cotton twine that you use in the kitchen. It's quite thick. I've also used it for the drawstring. So I just got that, I think, from like a $2 shop. It wasn't very costly, but it just gives a bit more of a firmer base for it to sit on. And then I just crocheted in the round until I got to a height that I was happy with, because to store what I wanted to store in it. Just going to undo it. So that's when it's open, that's how big it is. And then for the drawstring, I just did a round of a cluster of trebles and then some chain stitches to create the eyelets. And then I just kept going until the current magic knot ball that I had made ran out, to see if that was enough, and I decided that was enough, and plus I didn't want to have to make another magic knot ball, but I think it's big enough. And in here I've got my stuffing that I use for when I'm doing the crochet toys. So, because you probably all know that the stuffing comes in this massive big bag, and because a lot of the crochet I do up in the living room on my little making station, and I don't want to have that giant big bag up there, so I get sections, pull sections out, and I've been putting that in like a calico bag and having that up there. But I thought this would be a fun project to make and store my stuffing in, and I can keep it on my desk, and it's something nice to look at as well, not just a plain calico bag. So yeah, so I really had fun with this. It was fun seeing all the colour combinations. When I was making the magic knot ball, I was conscious of putting colours together that I sort of looked good together, or were complementary, or did like a run of pastel shades together. But then obviously it's potluck as to where in the bands that the colours match up, so it's quite fun seeing all these other combinations show up in the bag. So I'm really happy with that project. Some of the knots, because it was just a scrap project, I wasn't too concerned. Some of the magic knots have come on the outside of the bag. Most of them I could maneuver to the back. I think I had one or two that came undone, and I just did a bit of stitching on the inside over the top of the yarn just to hold it in place. I wasn't going to rip back and re-knot the yarn ball or anything. So yeah, that's my magic knot bag. So that was a fun project to do. And then my next crochet project, my work in progress, is I have been making a mandala from this book, and I'm hopefully going to be able to fix the fact that this is showing up backwards on the screen, but it's mandalas to crochet. So my mum and dad bought me this book, and the one that I'm doing, I think is here. I'm doing this one. It's called Scallops by the Sea. But I'm actually at the point where I should be putting the border on now. This is how far I've gotten. I'm hoping it is a bit not quite flat, but I'm hoping that once I block it, that will all block out and I'll be able to stretch it out and block it flat. So I should be up to the stage now where I put the border on, but I actually want to make this into a cushion for the guest bedroom. So I'm continuing on with the pattern and just increasing the number of double trebles as I go now, each round, and just making note of how many trebles I did in that round, so I know to add another 2 to the next round. And I'm just going to keep going until I get it sort of about like 30 centimetre diameter, I think. I just want a small round cushion, just like a throw cushion. And the wool I'm using is this just Modavira Pure Wool 8 ply. So I've got this colour in the yellow, which is number 13, and in the ivory, which is number 8, and in the pink, which is 59. They're the colours. So my digital camera has just turned itself off, so obviously that's not going to work for podcasting, because I think that's only lasted 10 minutes. So I might be filming on the laptop a bit longer. So that's that project. I'm going to try and speed through a little bit, so not too long. So that's, I'm quite enjoying that. It's nice to be crocheting something that's not just toys. I get a bit sick of doing the toys every now and then. So I got this mug for Christmas. Mini mug. Very pretty. And today I'm actually just drinking guava and strawberry cordial. I don't actually have tea in here, but I wanted to show you the mug. It's a bit too hot to drink tea at the moment. I can handle tea in summer in the mornings, although sometimes when we wake up and it's already in the 20s, it's a bit hot for me to drink tea, and I can't drink tea when I'm really hot, so just got cordial today. This week we've actually had some cooler days, and I've been relishing being able to have a cup of tea in the morning for morning tea and afternoon tea, so that's really nice. But it's starting to get a bit steamy again. We had a run of like 40 degrees. It was 45 degrees here, and I live in the Blue Mountains, so I live in the lower Blue Mountains, and we reached 45 degrees. It was 47 in Penrith on that day, and we had like a run of like, I think 2 days in a row it was above 40, and then it only dipped just below the other days, like 39, 38. So it's been really warm here. So it's been, start of the week was a lot cooler, but it's starting to warm up and get really humid and muggy again. So, okay, so next, another work in progress that I've been working on at the moment is an old project. One of my goals or plans for 2018 is to finish, or at least work on, some of my many UFOs. I have a lot of miniature patchwork projects that I start, and then I work on them, I get really into them, but then I get, I guess, a little bored with them and I want to try something else, so I'll move on to a new project. So this is one that I started ages ago, and I've been really enjoying just getting back and finishing it. So essentially what I've been making is these hexagon patches, and they're pieced from 1/4" hexagons. So I have a like whites one, a red one, all red colours, yellow, and I don't know how many hexagons are in each one because I haven't counted them yet, green, blue, purple and pink. And what they're going to make is one great big hexagon flower. So the white will be the centre, and then you'll have red. I'm not going to be able to hold this up. So you'll have red, and then the yellow one, and then the green, blue, pink, purple and pink all the way around. So it'll make one big flower. And then I'm probably going to then use more whites and creams to square it off, and then it'll be appliqued, and I'll make a miniature wall hanging. So it's been enjoyable to get back to doing more EPP. It is my favourite of the crafty things that I do. I really missed it when I was making a lot of the toys and the quilts for markets and shops, and I missed getting back into it. And I've got lots of plans this year to expand my paper range. So I actually cut and sell papers for miniature patchwork. So I've got quite a few shapes available, but I'm going to expand that range and the sizes, and so look out for that this year. And I'm also going to, I'd really like to start doing some kits and releasing some patterns as well. So that's all to come this year. So that's my work in progress for that. So the other thing I've been working on, I've been on holidays. At work we closed down for 4 weeks, which is really nice to get a nice big holiday. It's a bit of a downer as well though, because my husband can't take time off at this time of the year. He has just really the public holidays off because he's in retail, so he's really busy. So we can't really go away on holiday. So my 4 weeks that I have off are always spent around the house, which I actually really love, because usually I will pick a project, like a decorating or renovating project in the house to do, which usually involves painting, or I pick a project in the garden. So I've actually been doing a lot of work in the backyard. When the fires came through a couple of years ago, our backyard got fully burnt, which was great in a sense, because it cleared all the weeds and all the grass and everything, and I could see where the previous owners had started the landscaping with rock borders and that kind of thing. But at the time I didn't have time to get out there and do anything, and then a month after the fire came through, all the weeds just came up with vengeance, and it's been a battle to just keep the weeds down. I did start getting stuck into the garden over a year ago, but then I got pregnant with Tilly, and that made gardening, because it's hard, like actual landscaping, it's not just putting plants in. I actually have to rebuild a lot of the stone retaining walls and put in the pathways back in and all that sort of thing. So it's not some like just pottering around, it's actual like getting the mattock out and fully on, which I really enjoy, and I always feel a great sense of accomplishment when I've cleared a section, which I've done. Last week I cleared a big section and started to build some of the pathways back in and border them with the stones and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been doing a bit of that. I haven't done any painting yet, because the project that I was going to do, which was our foyer and staircase, I decided to put on hold until we redo the floor, because I didn't see the point in painting the walls and then jackhammering up the tiled floor and getting dust and crap everywhere, and then have to either repaint or clean or repaint again. So I put that on hold, and instead I'm going to paint and just touch up and decorate our main bathroom a bit. It's a small, because I've only now got next week is my last week, so that's my only week now to do that kind of thing. So I'll do that next week when Tilly's with her grandparents, when she's napping. That'll be my little interior project. So yeah, but I've been enjoying getting into the garden again, and I do have a lot of weeding to do in the front yard as well. I'm putting some new plants into the borders and stuff. So yeah, it's been great, and I've been watching a lot of Gardener's World, the 2017 Gardener's World. Monty Don is like my gardening hero. So I love watching Gardener's World while I'm at night when I'm sewing, and I find that really inspiring. It just gets me enthusiastic about getting out into the garden and doing stuff. So yeah, it's been really good. It's a bit of a nice break from watching podcasts as well. So one night I might watch podcasts, and then next night I'll watch Gardener's World, and then I've been watching some McLeod's Daughters, which has been online. And what else have I been watching? Some of the American renovation shows. I enjoy watching them as well. So yeah, that's what I do when I'm sewing. Okay, so I have some quilts to show you. You can just see this one in the corner there. So this is a gift quilt for our friend's daughter's first birthday. I'm hoping the colours come up on the screen. So it's lovely, soft, floral fabrics in like peachy pink and green and a bit of like soft yellow in there. And for this one, the block is an 8-inch block, and it's made up of 2 4-inch, a 6 and a 2-inch. So 4 by 4, and then 4 by 4, and then 4 by 6, and 2 by 4 to make that block. And then the quilting, I just did in the ditch going down, and then came in like halfway and went down, and then just in the ditch going this way for the big block. And then on the back I've got this really cute, I think it's been brought out for Easter, but I thought it was really nice. So it's got bunnies and flowers on it, it's just nice and soft. And then I just did a really pale yellow binding. So all my binding I hand sew on. I have tried machine sewing on binding, and I just haven't been happy with the results. It just doesn't give us as neat a finish as hand binding. So I really hope the colours show up. What do I need to do? It's really lovely. Really lovely quilt, that one. So that one's completely finished, just in time. Her birthday's tomorrow, well, her party's tomorrow. So I've been doing that one, and the other one that I've finished, I'm just going to step up into it, is this one. I'm just going to stand back here to show you. So this one hasn't been ironed because it's not actually dry yet. So I only washed this morning. And this one is a geometric pattern. So this looks like it's black, but it's a really dark navy. You can just see that it's navy there. And on the back I found this fabric at Spotlight, which was just wide enough, because this quilt is about 60 inches wide. It's about 125 centimetres square. And all the fabrics I was picking up that I liked were just 110, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to do a pieced back. But then I lucked out and I found this fabric, and this fabric was, I think, 130, so it was just wide enough. And there was like a part where I just managed to get the quilt, like, because it wasn't quite square once it was cut. So, but yeah. So this, I actually worked with, this is another gift quilt for another first birthday, and with my friend I actually asked her, I made a quilt previously for her, which was a lap quilt, and it was a geometric half square triangle quilt as well, and she wanted something similar, like another geometric kind of one, and I went on Pinterest and I showed her a picture of this particular quilt, which is very similar to this. This is, and I'll put a link to that quilt because she actually sells the pattern for the quilt that inspired this one. So I changed the pattern a little bit here and there and changed the colour placement as well. And essentially it's just made from all half square triangles, and then it's just the way that you position those triangles to get the pattern and the colour. And I used EQ7, Electric Quilt 7, to draft the pattern for this, and I use that to draft the block pattern for that as well. So I don't always use that. I'm still actually learning how to use that program. It still baffles me a little bit, especially when you're trying to draw the blocks. It was actually really difficult to draw this block because the program wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, and I use CAD program at work, so it's not that I'm not familiar with CAD drafting, but the way that this program works is it's not as user friendly as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, and I find like it doesn't, I don't know, there's just parts of the program that I'm just not quite happy with. It just doesn't quite live up to what I thought it was going to. But that could just be me needing to learn more about it. And there is like this massive thick manual that comes with it, and I have not read the whole manual. But anyway, so yeah, really pleased with how this quilt came out, and I got most of my points pretty on like point. There's only a couple that like the points got slightly chopped off or didn't quite match up, but I was actually really pleased with how well it came out. And with the quilting, I followed the pattern. So when I say that, I mean I followed like these kind of striped areas. So most of the none of the quilting is horizontal or vertical, it's all diagonal quilting because it follows sort of that diagonal pattern, so like that. And the only time where I went horizontal and vertical was inside these squares, and I quilted it with all white except when it came to the colour, so the quilting within that it was actually black, and then where I had the two colours together I've used black on the navy side, and it's all in the like ditch, or like close to the ditch quilting, so you won't even be able to really see it. So yeah, it didn't actually take me as long to quilt as I thought it was going to, and then I managed to put all the binding on last night, which again is all hand bound in a navy, dark navy. And yeah, I'll put links in the show notes to the pattern that this was inspired by as well. Just about show notes, I'm just going to hang this back up. This year I'm going to attempt again, it'll be my third attempt at writing and maintaining a blog. So from now on, show notes will be in a blog post on my blog. So at the moment I haven't even started the blog, so the show notes for this podcast will go up some point next week. Once I actually need to sort of format the blog. I've started it. It's just a Tumblr blog for now, and I was going to do a whole like new website and do a WordPress blog. And because I already have my own domain name that I could use, but obviously you need to pay for hosting, and I just thought I don't know how successful it's going to be. I just want to do a trial blog. So it's a trial blog, and then if I can maintain it over the next couple of months with regular posts, then I'll switch it to a proper WordPress blog, I think. But I'm just going to start with Tumblr because it's free and there's not too much formatting that you have to do. It's just pretty much write your post, put in your pictures, and that's it. So look out for that. That will be coming soon. Oh, I've got one more quilt. Another gift quilt. I was very behind with all my gift quilts because I was making so much for markets last year. So that geometric one is like 8 months late, something like that. This one is a couple of months late. So it's for another first birthday. I make, for all our friends' kids, I make them all a quilt for their first birthday. Not necessarily to use in the cot, just they can use it however they want. But so this is this one. So, oh, I should say for this one, all the fabric for this, except for the binding and the backing, came out of my stash. So I'm really trying to use my stash up. So I was really proud that I could get everything out of the stash. The geometric one I had to buy all the fabric for. And for this one, the only fabric I bought was this, because I bought that and thought that would look gorgeous in a kid's quilt. I didn't necessarily know it was going to be this quilt, but so I bought this fabric from Spotlight, which is kind of like it's a thicker linen-y kind of fabric. And then all the other fabrics, I might stand up, are again from my stash. So I was really like the colour combination in this. So it's obviously this kind of aqua-y, tealy blue colours with yellow and a bit of sort of browns and greys in there. So again, using my stash, which is great. And then it's a simple, these patches are, I think they're 8-inch, and then these are 4-inch. Or was it 3 and 6? I can't remember. I can't remember now. No, 4 and 8. I just measured. Yeah. And then I've got the backing and binding ready. Well, not ready, but this will be the backing fabric. Simple chevron. And the binding in a yellow. That looks really bright on screen, but it's a bit duller than that. So yeah. So that's that one. So that one I'll finish next week and gift it. So yeah, it's been nice to do a bit of quilting for gifts too, not just for the shop to sell. Okay, so I'm just going to check my notes. So we've done that and that. Okay, so I might show you a bit of yarn dyeing experimenting that I've been doing. So Mum came over, not last weekend, but the weekend before I think it was, and we did a bit of playing with yarn dyeing. So I did purchase some really nice merino superwash wool, but for the first dyeing session I didn't want to use that. I just wanted to practice on just some cheaper wool. So it's still, this is all on 100% wool, but it's just that Moda Vera wool that I showed you earlier that we used because it's inexpensive and it was just to practice on, and also to see. I bought the landscape dies in some colours from the Elements range and one colour from the Standard range, and I just sort of wanted to see what the colours were like as well before I dipped into my good wool that I've bought. So these are some of the ones that I came up with. So this one has got pinks, like a pinky, dusty pink, and it's got some speckles of like a mauvey purple in it. So I've got, I just split my skeins. This is a 50 gram. I think they're 50 gram balls. So I split them up in small skeins. I don't know the best way to show this. The light's not great. And then this is probably my favourite one that I did. So this has got this really minty greens and aqua, and there's a bit of yellow speckles which have come out really like limey green in there. Yeah, I really like that one. And then this one I used all of my colours and just did speckles. But I also experimented with almost like a tie-dyeing with it. So when I put ties around it quite tight so that it left kind of like a band of undyed, just to see what kind of effect that will give when I'm dyeing the skeins up. So I want to experiment with some sort of resistant, like putting pegs and things on just to try and get different effects when I dye. So this one's really soft and pretty, like with all the speckling, like I was just tapping the raw dye powder on. So made lots of pretty colours in it. And then the other one I did was I had all this grey yarn that I got from like a garage sale, and I just practiced with a bit of the blue, and it's got a bit of the pink corally colour that I got. You can't really see actually, it's not going to show up at all I think. It's looking really dark. This kind of reminds me of a bit of a denim. This came out looking kind of like a denim-y kind of colouring and look, which I think could look quite nice. I think it could work up really nice into like a bear, maybe like a crochet bear. Crochet bears. So that was fun. So I'm preparing some skeins from my good yarn to dye, and I bought myself some tools. So I got these. So this is the Ashford Niddy Noddy. So I got the large one to do full skeins, and then I got the small one to do minis. I was going to try and find a YouTube tutorial on how to make your own Niddy Noddy, but then I was just like, I can't bother to do that. And these weren't that expensive. I think for both of them they were paid like $55 maybe, and it was free postage, I'm pretty sure. So I'll put the links to where I got them in the show notes. But yeah, so they're my Niddy Noddies. And then I put a post on my Facebook and Instagram on suggestions for wool wash. So I've got two that I ended up getting. So I actually got this one, Synthropol, which is what Michelle used when I did the dyeing workshop with her. She used Synthropol to wash the undyed skein at the start and also at the end. But I also got to try, because I wanted a really nice smelling one for the end wash. So I ended up getting the eucalyptus. This is grapefruit. I haven't even smelt it yet. Let's open up. Oh yes, it smells nice and citrusy. So they've got a couple of different ones. Some people recommended soak, and I did look at the soak one as well. There's some lovely flavours, I call them flavours, in that one, but I ended up getting this one. So I'm going to try this to wash the undyed skeins, and then this to do the wash at the end. To try and put a bit of, just to get rid of that vinegar smell, put a nice scent on the yarn. Like them. Okay, so I'll show some goodies. So these are all Christmas presents except for one. So I'll show the one that wasn't a Christmas present. So I got this beautiful skein from my friend Jazzy Makes. We did a market stall together at the end of last year, just before Christmas, which turned out to be a disaster. It was so stinking hot, and we were in the sun. Like, we had a gazebo, but we were in the sun the whole day. We didn't get any relief from the sun. And Jazzy was 8 months pregnant. She should be due very soon, actually. And it was just so hot, and it was just not good sales-wise either, which was a bit disappointing. All that effort to like set up your stall, and then I think I had 4 sales, and that was it. So, but yeah, I bought this gorgeous skein from Jazzy Makes. That's backwards, but now I've got to try and work out how to fix that. Yeah, I'll put a link. She has an Etsy shop, so I'll put a link. I'm not sure how much yarn dyeing she's going to be doing about when Bob comes along, but I think she's still got some stuff in her shop. But it's really pretty. Purples and pinks and blue, aqua blue speckles, and it's really lovely. You know, magenta, hot pink colours. That's really nice. And then my mum bought me this skein. She said it was for Christmas, but she bought this for me a couple of months ago. We went to the House of Wool, which is in Blackheath. We go up there whenever we can. And I just couldn't put this one down. And then I put it down because I was on a yarn diet. I was trying not to buy yarn or buy anything really coming up to Christmas. But she was lovely and kind enough to buy it for me. So it's really pretty, soft. It's very spring. Got these lovely spring greens and yellows and pinks in it. Really nice. They've got such lovely wool. In the video montage at the start, there'll be some snippets from our visit to the House of Wool. It was so funny because we were out for Mum's birthday, and we went to the conservation hut for lunch, and then we went up to Blackheath to go to the House of Wool. It was for her birthday present. I said I'll buy you some wool. So we went up there, and Dad and Tim took Tilly for a walk up the street and had a coffee while we were in the shop. And then they came back just as we were finishing, and Tilly came in, and I picked her up and I took her over to the big shelf full of hand-dyed yarns, and she's, ooh, wow, you know, she's touching them, and ooh, wow. It was so cute. So yeah, it was really nice. So then my other Christmas presents, which I may have maybe bought myself, wrapped them up and put them under the Christmas tree and then said that they were from Santa. I got this project bag from Seaworthy Knots. So it's my first project bag that I've bought, and I couldn't be happier with it. So I saw it on Instagram, and I had to have it. So it's made from denim at the base, and then this lovely pale dusty pink peach geometric, and then it's just got pull cord, and it came with a little progress keeper or stitch marker, whatever that is. And then I also got, I was so excited about these. I got these pins. Aren't they just amazing? They're like the best things I've ever seen. I've actually favorited so many of her pins. She's just got this new one out, which I saw on Instagram yesterday, which is a sewing machine, like an old school looking sewing machine, and it's white and aqua, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to get that. It's aqua, it's my favourite colour. So yeah, I've got them. So I'll put links to these shops in the show notes. But I'm thinking I might put this one on this bag. I think that will look really cool on this bag. And I'll save this one for my next project bag purchase. But yeah, they're really cool. She's got a couple others that I want to. One that was, she's got a crochet one, which looks really awesome as well. So yeah, got my eye on quite a few different pins. So I got those, and then I got a couple of books. So Mum and Dad got me this one, Beetles, Bugs and Butterflies by Leela. Been eyeing off this book for a while. I love her patterns. It's really cute. It's got like a story at the start, like a picture story. It goes through a little story, which is really cute. And then so sweet. And then look at this one. Cute. And then the instructions look, look at this page. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I haven't started anything out of this book yet, but already the like instructions are just looking so good, with like great photos, the pictures. Goes through like all the techniques first that she uses, and then you get to the actual like pattern. She shows you, you know, the actual pattern and everything, all the pattern technique. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make some butterflies for Tilly. I really love this one. Pretty butterflies. And I don't know if you're familiar, but the way that this book works, probably on the back is a really good example. So it's like the life cycle of the bug. So starts with the butterfly, so it's like the egg, and then out comes the caterpillar, and then sorry, people can't hear me when I do that. So the egg, and then the caterpillar, and then you make the cocoon for the caterpillar to go into, and then the butterfly. So the wings, this band here slides off, so you can detach the butterfly wings. Anyway, so clever. Yeah, so, this one's gorgeous. And I'm not going to make them. She's made these so that they are actually the colours of the real life butterfly. But, I mean, you could make this in so many different colours. This cute little snail. So, yeah, really, really fun book. And the other book I got, which I may have bought myself and then said that it was from Tilly to Mum, is this book, which I've been eyeing off for a while, On the Loom by Marianne Moody. So it's weaving. So I really want to try weaving this year. It's one of my new crafts I want to discover, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's got all different ways of weaving, so like circular looms, lots of different projects that you can make. I really love this rag rug. I really like that. And then like the actual like woven wall hanging. So I bought myself a loom from Spotlight, just a small loom, and I have collected yarn, some different types of yarn to use with it, but I just haven't had time to actually sit down and practice with it. So this year I want to actually do that. I want to make something to hang in the living room. So the colours of this fancy yarns that I've bought to go into it are all colours to do with like our living room scheme. So the next thing I just wanted to talk about was sort of my goals for 2018. So this year I decided to do what I noticed a lot of the podcasters and crafters that I follow do, which is pick a word for the year. So I thought a little bit about it, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of like a good way of working through the year, having something to prompt you and to go back to, rather than just having a list of goals, something that sort of envelops all that together. I thought that was a really good way to look at the year. So the word that I have picked is discovery. And I picked that word because I thought a lot about last year, and last year was just such a busy year for me, and I took a lot of new things on, and I didn't realise when I took them on how much time they would actually take out of my already limited time. Working 3.5 days and the travel that I do to get to work and back makes those working days, even though I actually have worked now, I work a reduced day, it still is, I'm leaving home at, I dropped Tilly off at her grandparents at 8, and I'm not getting home until 5:45. So that's pretty good. It used to be I was leaving home at 7 and getting home at like 6:45. So I shouldn't complain too much, but that's still time that is taken away from spending time with my family, and Tilly spending time taken away from my crafting. And then I joined the Blue Mountains Makers, which I've loved. I love being a part of that group, but it certainly has taken a lot of time away from other things, which I still love, and I'm not planning on quitting that, but I just need to look at how I manage it a bit. I need to manage that a lot better. And then just with last year's making, I was making a lot of, like I've said, the crochet toys, which I do enjoy doing, but it's not my main passion when it comes to making. Like, I make them and I enjoy them at the time, but when I'm continually making them, I get really sick of them, and it takes time away from my paper piecing, which is what I really love to do. And I feel like with my shop, I'm just trying to do too many things. So I picked Discovery because I really want to discover this year where I want my shop to go. I want to discover the products that I want to make and focus on. I'm trying the yarn dyeing, so that's a new discovery, that's a new experiment. But I really want to just try and work out what it is I want that to focus on. And I want to go back and discover what is my passion, like what am I most passionate about. And so I'm making notes every week now about, what did I really enjoy doing this week? What did I what fueled that passion for me. I want to discover more with my styling that I've been doing, the photography styling. I want to discover more of what my actual style for styling is. I also want to discover more things that inspire me. I want to read more, and I want to go on more adventures and explore more, go camping more often, go down to the van at Gerringong more often. So there's all sorts of things I want to discover. I want to discover more about myself, more about my business, and where that sort of takes me. And the other thing that so what I've done, show you. This is my life. My life is in here. My planner that I got from Kiki K. So this is my discovery page. It's at the start, and this is all backwards. You can't even read that, but that's my discovery page. At the top here I've got this sticker that says, "Inspiration is all around you." And then the other half of that for me this year, again thinking about last year and how, I wouldn't say I was stressed, but I was definitely a lot of the times feeling quite overwhelmed. I felt like I was I put a lot of pressure on myself to get stuff done for the markets and for my shop, and then trying to manage all that with managing the house, cooking dinner, doing the groceries, looking after Tilly, trying to spend time with Tilly and enjoying her growing up, because she's at such a wonderful time at the moment where she's learning so many new things. She's learning new words every week. She learns a new word. She's discovering new things. Her personality is really starting to come out, and she's really it's so fun to watch her and to interact with her. But last year I just felt like I just didn't have time. I wasn't spending enough quality time with her. So that's something that really needs to change this year, and not just with her, but with Tim and with our family and our friends. And so my other goal, or my other thing that I'm working on this year, is mindful living. So, I want to eat better, drink more water. I want to stress less. I want to stop and... I've written these on, so I'm reading them off my page. This is my page for mindful living. These are all the things that I want to try and bring into my life and our life. So more balance in the things that we do. I want to slow down and be calm, relax, reflection, go on more walks, spend more time outside in the garden, make more time for family and friends, record memories and take lots of photos and videos, sleep better, because my sleep last year was just bad. It was bad sleeping. Trying some yoga and meditation. So, I really want to bring it all back down and just be, in a sense, and not be so tied into deadlines. I haven't made any plans for any markets at all for the start of the year. I definitely won't be doing any over winter, and if I do any markets, it'll be in spring, and it will only be a handful. I'm not gonna with the shop this year, like I said previously, I want to get back to the EPP and focus a bit more on the papers and the patterns and kits, and then obviously the wool dyeing. I also would really like to experiment with some fabric dyeing. So in terms of the shop, I'm probably going to focus a little bit at the start anyway, more on that. And then I always want to create and make things. So if I feel like crocheting some toys, I'll crochet some toys and I'll put them up in the shop, or I'll have them ready for markets. But I'm not going to bust my gut and like make stuff for the shop. It'll just be if I feel like doing it and I want to sell that, then it'll go in the shop, but it's not going to be my main focus. You know, I want to enjoy making again. I felt like last year I wasn't necessarily enjoying the making that I was doing. It was just, it started to become a chore, or it was like a job. I had to make this, I had to get this done. So for that reason, I probably won't be taking a lot of custom orders either, because when I'm doing a custom order, I'm like thinking about a project that I actually want to be working on, and I'm like, I've got to get this stupid custom order done. So yeah, but then I also do have goals for like, so I won't read them all out, but I've written them all down. So I've planned all my like sort of goals for my business, and then I've got goals for the house. So I want to get back to making more for me, making like personal projects. I would really like to make some garments for myself. I like to crochet, or I would really like to learn to knit this year. So I really want to like get back to enjoying. I want to make more for myself. I want to make more for the home. I want to make myself some quilts, and I want to make Tilly some quilts and make her some toys and that sort of thing. So I've got my make and create goals. So I've got goals for, I've got my works in progress that I would like to, I've got so many things that I want to finish. I want to make things for the home. I want to make for me, experiment makes, and then I want to make something from a magazine, or not necessarily just one thing, but I've got so many magazines, so many books, then there's obviously Ravelry, I've got kits that I've bought, there's so many things I've pinned on Pinterest. So I actually want to pick something from a book and make it, and actually use these resources that I've got instead of just having them sitting there to not just like to look nice. And then I've got creative exploration, so I want to get back into sketching, color. I really enjoy colouring in, learn new sewing and crocheting techniques. So I'd like to maybe try Tunisian crochet this year. I'd really like to join in on a cow. I don't know what kind of cow it will be. I would even like to run one. So maybe stay tuned for that. I might pick a project and see if anyone else wants to join me in on it. But it looks really fun, like all the podcasts that I watch, so many people have cows, and it looks like such a good time to like, if you get stuck, be able to talk to someone else that you know is making the same project would be really great. So yeah, so they're my goals for this year. And so I keep everything. I am a super organised person. I like to be organised. I like writing and making lists. So this is my diary. You can see how many little tabs I've got here, all for the various things that I do. So for my shop, for Blue Mountains Makers, for our house, all these little tabs are all like to-do lists and all sorts of things. I really love this planner. I've tried numerous ways to plan and organise my life, and this has worked the best so far. This goes everywhere with me. So the last thing I was just going to chat about, I've lost my podcast notes now. The last thing I wanted to chat about is a bit to do with that mindful living, and I mentioned that I want to read more. I've got so many novels that I've bought. A lot have come from my mum, because she swaps books with the girls at work, and then I tell her, well, keep them for me and I'll read them, you know. And then, you know, I go to these book sales where books are like 50 cents or $1, and I come home with like 20 books. And so I've got like a bookcase full of books that I have not read. So I'm like, right, that needs to change. So I picked this one for my holiday read, the Aloha Quilt, and I'm really enjoying this, and I've since discovered that she's got like 20 books in this series. Where's that at the start? Yeah, all of these, they're all about like quilting quilting stories. So it's all fiction, but it's all like, so I'm like, now I have to go searching for all of these other books because I'm really enjoying this one. It's really, really good read. I really love to actually try making a Hawaiian quilt. That would be really nice. So yeah, so I'm enjoying getting back to a bit of reading. The other thing I've been enjoying with my whole mindful living, so I've been collecting a couple of mindful living magazines. So I think I showed this before on the podcast, this Project Calm one. So I've been reading that while I've been on holidays, and it's really cool because it's got like, I've been working on this colouring in page that it has in it, all about bees. So it's been really fun. I'll sit and I'll have my half-hour like morning tea break, and I'll read a little bit, and then I'll just do a little bit of colouring, and it's actually really nice just to stop and just free the mind a bit. It's really been really good actually. I've been really enjoying it. So and it's fun. It's got like little projects, and it's got like things that you can pull out. It's got you know, like these artworks, like you can frame. That's really good. And then I also recently bought this one, which is kind of similar to that too, with Daphne's Diary. This is an old one, it's not the current one. Number 5. I don't know what that is. But again, it's just really, really nice. It's got recipes in it. It's got pretty papers in it to use, and I plan on using all this in my, where is it? Gets down. I bought one of those, I don't know if you're familiar with Project Life. So I was like all for that. I was like, this is fantastic. Bought myself a beautiful aqua Project Life binder. Got different size sleeves and things to go in it. Got some papers and cards and stuff. Put it all away, and it has stayed there. It has not been taken out. I have not started using it. So I want to get back to, I think what I want to do is I want to record this year the things that I make, things that I experiment with, and I'm going to put them into the Project Life thing. So my Project Life is not really just going to be scrapbooking kind of stuff. It's going to be lots of photos of my crafting journey this year. So it's almost going to be like a tangible version of the blog that I'm going to start. So, you know, I can pull out all these papers and things and put them in there and get back to a bit of like creative doodling and drawing. I'm going to put those in there. I'm going to make it a real scrapbook kind of my year of making, essentially. So, but yeah, I haven't started reading this one yet, but that's Daphne's Diary, so I got that one. Then today I also found this one called In the Moment, and then I realised when I pulled out this one that I had another one of In the Moment ones. So again, it's all about mindful living. So there's it's all about well-being yoga in there, and there's some bookmarks to pull out and use. I need some bookmarks. All the books I'm going to read. It's got, you know, inspirational quotes and all sorts of things in there. So I've got 2 of them to read. And then I also found this one. Breathe. I think these 2 are English, and the Daphne's Diary one is English, and so is the Project Calm. But I think this one is actually Australian. So it's all about well-being, mindfulness, creativity, and escaping. So I'm going to look forward to sitting down and relaxing and reading these. This one, which I really liked, I haven't looked at it yet, but it has this resolution planner, so I'm really curious to see what that's all about. I've got to rip it out. I can't even see what it's about yet, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's about. and using that. So yeah, so that's all about my mindful livingness, hopefully. So you'll be able to see how I go with all that, the discovery and the mindfulness, because I'll be documenting that both here on the podcast, but also in my blog, hopefully, if I manage to maintain it. Okay, so that's what I'm reading. So just lastly, a couple of shout outs to some podcasts that I've been watching lately. You probably already know these podcasts, but I'm going to give them a mention anyway. So Brooklyn Knit Folk, which is Jacqueline. So I recently discovered hers. I've been watching all the old episodes of Lupin Bar, which is Kate. I've been enjoying Skein Studios podcast, which is Kristen. She usually does a weekly podcast. By the Lakeside, which is Sandy. She's really lovely. I really like her podcast. And then I really enjoyed watching some of the vlogmases this year. So I watched Maker's Haven, Homespun House, Little Tailoress, So Sweet Violet did a bit of a vlogmas this year, and the Brooklyn Knit Folk. I really enjoyed her vlogmas. So I'll put all the links to those podcasts in the show notes. As I mentioned, I am going to start a blog, so from now on the show notes will be in the blog, as a blog post. I will put links in the down bar just to where you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, a link to my Etsy shop, and there'll be a link to my blog in the down bar. So I think that's everything. And I've only just gone over an hour, which is pretty good. I thought this was going to be really long, but it's not been too bad. So if you stuck with me for all that, thank you very much. Thank you if you're a new viewer. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you're a returning viewer, I also hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a fabulous start to 2018. Yeah. If you like this podcast, please give it the thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I hope you have, it is Friday today, so this podcast will probably be up tomorrow. It takes about 12 hours to load these things, so hopefully it'll be up tomorrow. So have a lovely weekend, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye.
finger.